Here we go. All right. So we wanted to talk about earnings. Donna, I'm not rich. I'm comfortable. And you know what, Donna, sometimes I like to take my trading profits and put them into Dunkin' Donuts. That's all. Okay. Uh, Shalom, I was on delay because I forgot to put my darn video on. So that's my fault. Now everything's back to normal. All right. So here we go. Here's our little bit of a presentation. You know me. Everybody that's here has already met me probably a dozen times. Anyway, I'm Lee Goldstein, the trading director. Please remember everything we do and discuss for educational purposes. All right. And just a reminder, so we're appointment-based trading. All right. I call it news trading. And I kind of got corrected by my boss today, and he was right. Yes, we are news traders, but we're not trading, cryptocurrency news. We're not trading uh, news when somebody is just sitting in the room, or making announcements in the news. We're trading. The key that we're doing is we're trading news on a very specific schedule. We don't watch the charts all day. So what news we are trading is just like we discussed, it's the schedule specifically, 6:40, 7:30, you know the deal. So I just wanted to clarify that because new people sometimes they don't realize what we do. So we're not trading discretionary most of the time, although we've added some elements of it to what we do. But our software absolutely unequivocally can be used to trade if you're a discretionary trader. And of course, it can be used for trading breakouts. Our natural gas after the news trade is a discretionary trade. Our earnings trades are often discretionary trades, but they're a hybrid. They are semi-automated because our software acts like an ATM during the trade, and sometimes we'll put the orders on the chart manually, sometimes we'll put them on automatically. So our software is a hybrid at times. It can be partially discretionary and partially automated. So just as a reminder, what triggers the appointments: high impact reports, GDP, jobs reports, etc. End of the day market closings, market openings, scheduled speakers trigger market moves, and then of course, big company earnings. So I wanted to go over the earnings because we wanted people to have one more opportunity to get in to our class also. So, we make money on these big earnings reports. We're trading the markets on as a proxy. We're using the NQ as a proxy, but it's more than that. It's not just, doing what we say all the time. We're trying to create an environment in the trade room that helps to keep you safer than if you were alone in your room. Okay. And last week was a fantastic example of the markets. While I'm talking, I'm going to put my recorder back on. Last week was a perfect example of the markets being absolutely crazy to the point that we realized we weren't going to be able to trade Intel and Tesla. Let me see if I can demonstrate why. So here's the market. If you can see, I hope you can see down on the bottom, there's a number, okay? And right now it's being covered. Let me get it uncovered because I'm setting up a trade. You can see it here. You can see it's jumping in large, big jumps like 13 to 18, 10 to 17. So that was the NQ market right before we were getting ready to trade Intel. I knew, and this is what we try to do, and it's why our trade room, why people pay for it. We knew from experience that the market, and an experienced trader should know this, if the market is moving in points when it normally moves in ticks, then you've got a problem in setting up a tick, a bracket with 12 ticks when the market was moving from -9 to 7, I mean, and to 10 to 13 to, it was moving in chunks of 15 to 40 ticks at a time. I knew that if we tried to trade Intel and Tesla with those market conditions, we'd lose money. So and I know people that tried to trade live. I have friends that do what I do, and they subscribe to our software, and they don't come to the trade room, some of them, and they tried to trade Intel and they got stopped out. It was not possible to put a bracket order on the chart unless you had a 40 tick bracket, because the market was moving almost 6 to 8 points sometimes at a clip. So what we try to do is help you to stay safe in the trade room. That's one of the most important things that we do. Now, I want to backtrack just a little bit also, because it's the end of the year, and at the end of the year sale that we had, we talked about our software. And we were mentioning that we were hoping to come out with a software upgrade at the end of January. Well, we're one day away from the beginning of February, and you know how it goes with software. We're close, but we're probably at least 30 days away still. But I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that there absolutely unequivocally is going to be a very nice upgrade to the software. And we actually decided on some very powerful changes to make the software much, much easier to use. And I think it'll be worth the wait. In the interim, there is going to be a very minor software update. So when I send you an email just saying, hey, everybody, do the software update, please do it. It'll be very minor, very easy. It'll load right on top of your existing software, and it won't be difficult to do. So let's get back to earnings. I just wanted to update everybody that we are unequivocally, absolutely working on that new version. And when we say something, we really always try to follow through. Sometimes an idea doesn't work out. But if it doesn't work out, we'll move away from it and let everybody know. But obviously, software updates, that's something we're always doing, and they work out great. So last week, Intel and Tesla, just because we didn't trade them doesn't mean that you didn't have a valuable room for Intel and Tesla. I think it's just as important to keep everyone safe as it is to trade sometimes, and that was unsafe conditions. I mean, you could see the market was moving so fast. Look at that. I mean, if we look at that number one more time, I never saw the market move the way that it did last week. I mean, in 6 and 10 clip points on the NQ. Now, I don't sit in front of the markets as much as some of you do. So some of you have probably seen more market craziness than I've seen lately. But so then we passed on Intel, which was smart, and Tesla, which we're coming to learn now. First of all, look how you can tell when the earnings are out, the instant they come out. We subscribe to the multi-broker version of NinjaTrader. Okay, so I can connect my broker, TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim, and I can bring the chart prices into NinjaTrader. So that's a great feature that I have that I'm able to do. All right, watch the burst of the candle on the actual stock price. So we knew exactly the instant Intel earnings came out. They came out 33 seconds after, hey, you know what? Yeah, 33 seconds after 4 o'clock. So 4 p.m. and 33 seconds. So if you're going to trade earnings, you should put that in your journal. And because we have a journal of at least 2 to 3 years of the release times for Intel earnings. And it's very important because there is not a centralized release time like there is for GDP reports. The government does not release stock earnings, the individual companies do. And that's one of the reasons they don't always release at the same time. But what we're coming to learn now with Tesla is because Tesla, up until about almost not quite a year ago, but they were releasing 10 minutes to 5 p.m. Eastern time, 4:35, 4:40. They had just random release times. But I think Tesla wanted to be, they wanted to get market attention with the FANG stocks. So I think it's intentional that they changed their release time to very much closer to 4 p.m. So what we're learning with Tesla is they're releasing their time, their earnings at anywhere between 4:05 and 4:08. Now this quarter, you could see right there, Tesla came out 4:06, pretty much 4:06 on the dot, I think is, nope, it was a little bit earlier. 4:05, 4:05:50, 48-ish. And those seconds matter. So Tesla, 4:05 seems to be the key. So I would consider not putting my orders on the charts until maybe 4:04 with Tesla. If we are happy and believe that Tesla is sticking to their release times, you can put your orders on the chart for less time. Okay, so in other words, in case you don't understand what I'm talking about, when we trade earnings, and why don't I show you um, earnings trade? So we were going to go through all the trades that we took, all right, today. So the first trade we lost money on, and it was Netflix. And sometimes that's going to happen. You're going to take a trade, you're going to lose money. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is. So let me see if I have that Netflix trade handy, which I know I do. I just have to find it. Give me a second. All right. So here's my Netflix, but I think I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this was Eric's trade. So in Eric's trade, if I can get there, it's so fast. Okay. So Netflix was quick. So what's going to happen? What I'm talking about is we put our orders on the chart and we manipulate them. So he was using a range. I don't use the range. And I'll show you my orders too. You know what? His trade is so fast. I want to show you mine because it's easier. So give me 1 second to get the file. It'll be easier. So what we do is we put the orders on the chart before the earnings come out, and we manipulate the prices of the orders. Okay, that way we keep the orders away from the current price, and we get pulled into the market when the earnings come out. Netflix always releases pretty much between 4 and 4:01. So those X's are my orders, and I'm going to keep them away from the current price as far away as possible. Netflix earnings came out and the NQ didn't move. And then it moved slowly and it jerked up and down. And unfortunately, Netflix was a stop out. So our first trade on earnings did not work. Our second trade was Microsoft. Okay, so let's go over to Microsoft. And Microsoft is not a FANG stock. So I know a lot of you are thinking, well, what are you talking about? Why are you trading Microsoft? So any stock that we see that gives us an opportunity to trade, we're taking it. All right, I'll do it. As long as the release time is somewhat predictable of the earnings and it moves the NQ. And Microsoft, just as a reminder, what we do, we put our orders on the chart using a setup called the one-click range trade. It's part of our software. I move the orders so I don't get filled before the news comes out. And boom, I get pulled into the trade because my orders are on the chart when the news comes out. We know it's the right moment because we can see Microsoft earnings explode to the upside. So we had a positive Microsoft winner, which is great. Okay, so our confidence was back. You know, anytime you start a trading setup, a trading workshop, and your first trade is a loser, it's upsetting. You know, you want to start off with the best possible trade ever. Everybody gets down, and then you have to wait a day for the next setup. But it was great. It worked out fine. Microsoft was awesome. And then Eric also had a Microsoft trade. That first trade was mine. He trades in his home office sometimes if he has the opportunity. And Microsoft was a very nice move, and he was able to grab it also. I'll just show you because everybody has a slightly different way of doing things. I don't know why on his charts we can't see his current price. I have to believe that he can. So he's manipulating his orders to understand the current price is in the middle of those X's. And he's going to get pulled into the market right about now. Boom, watch. He's in, it's going to jerk up. And he made, looks like 255-ish. Let's see if he was up 295. Yeah. So he made he made like 280, something like $280, $300 on the trade. So that was very nice. So Tesla, we kept ourselves safe, didn't trade it. Netflix, our first trade didn't work. Microsoft was a winner. And then Apple. So Apple was the star so far of the sessions of the workshop. We discovered with Apple that if you know the history, you have to understand a little bit of history of the markets. A year ago, between 4:15 and 4:30, the indexes would close for 15 minutes. Apple always releases their earnings very, very close to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, forcing us to not be able to put an order on. The markets are closed, so we have to wait for that 15-minute gap to be placed on the chart by the price action. Then you can put your orders on. So in our earnings workshop, we went over previous Apple trades. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but you have to wait for the gap to be to be printed on a chart before you can place your Apple orders. But it made things challenging. So I did some research, and I know that Apple releases their earnings at a very specific time, though. Unlike every other stock company, Apple is very, very exacting about when they release their earnings. The markets, about 6 months ago, they changed the rules, and the indexes don't close anymore from 4:15 to 4:30. So I figured, let's give it a shot, set up a breakout, and trade Apple as a breakout. But we had a big problem. We had a big problem that the market was so volatile this week. I was extremely concerned that we might not be able to trade because of the same scenario with Intel and Tesla. When the market closed on the 27th, it was very volatile. And I reduced my size on the Apple trade because of that. So watch what happens. Keep in mind, markets are now open. Apple is reliable. We could trade it as a breakout as long as you use a good sized bracket over 20. Apple came through exactly as we expected. Earnings came out literally a second after 4:30. Our breakout bracket was perfect, and we hit our 80 tick target, which was too small, and hit all our targets and made $970 in a second. Eric also traded Apple. I think he made 555, if I'm not mistaken. But people that traded with us in the room, etc., okay, traded micros and made a couple of $100, which is really unusual. So now we're not trading shares of the stock, Donna. We're not trading options, but we're trading the NQ futures to as a proxy for the stock price. Because I'll show you that Apple trade one more time, not just to show off that it was a great trade, but just to show you how the NQ moves at the moment of the earnings. That's the key. The NQ moves. And this was even in April, the NQ moved at the moment of the earnings. Look at the move. On the left is the NQ, on the right is the stock price. So what we've discovered are certain stocks will absolutely move the index, the NQ index, because they're weighted heavily in that index. In other words, if you have a stock that has no weighting in the index, it most probably won't move the index. Okay. So that's what we discovered. And we have about anywhere between 4 to 7 regular earnings trades every quarter. And it's just in the time period of about 10 days to 14 trading days. And it's a great way to trade. And our software, we actually updated our software so that we could do this. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to make a video to help people trade the Wednesday ADP report. Okay, so when you say, what is the investment in Apple to make $900? So Tom, it doesn't quite work the way that you're thinking. So we're trading futures. So it's not like we're making an investment in Apple. We're trading a leveraged product that has contracts. So it's somewhat similar to Forex contracts, or somewhat similar um, to like we're trading gold contracts at time, but futures are a leverage instrument. So in order to trade the NQ, which is the instrument we're trading, the only investment you have is how much money you must have in a trading account in order to trade one contract of the NQ. And it's only $1,000, Tom. So let's be honest and fair for transparency and honesty purposes. You should probably have about $5,000 to $6,000 in your account in order to trade 3 contracts of the NQ for an Apple trade. And I was risking about $1,000, Tom, was my risk in the trade. I was using a 40 tick stop, which is $200 per contract. So that's a $600 risk. And I would say it's about an $800 risk, assuming there could have been, if it was a bad trade, maybe there would have been slippage against me instead of having slippage in favor of the way I'm trading, which happens also. But so it's not like we're investing in Apple. We just have to have a futures account that allows us to do that. So to trade one contract, you have to, Larry, you could have 2,000. You don't have to have 3. If you can, yeah, you know what, Larry, that's a great point. It's a great point. If you're trading 3 contracts, you should figure having at least 6,000, 5 to 6,000. If you're putting on multiple orders, the broker, what Larry is saying, the broker counts each position you're putting on as a potential contract. So you have to have enough margin. All right. Now for us, I'm not trading in a $5,000 account. To me, it's not enough. I want to have at least a $10,000 futures trading account, so I don't have to think if I want to trade a 3 contract trade. Okay. But Larry makes a very good point. If you're putting orders on charts, even if it's an order you're not planning on ever filling, the broker will sometimes count it as an order that could definitely fill, and they'll require margin. That's what Larry's saying. So you have to have maybe 3,000 in margin to trade one contract, certainly two, certainly two. But you do not have to have 9,000 in the account, Larry, to trade 3 contracts. I can tell you that definitively. Okay. So but it's a valid point. So we're not investing in Apple though. We're trading a futures account. The other thing I wanted to not forget about talking about was this week's jobs report. So it's important to realize that, we have our regular daily report that we issue. But just as a heads up, so let me pull up last month's jobs report, daily market report. And why do I think this is important? Because I think there are other opportunities that you just might want to think about. For instance, we always trade gold on the unemployment report. We've been trading gold for years. We used to trade ZB. I've been trading ZN recently, but ZN is working rather poorly lately. And in fact, I got stopped last month, and very honestly, most of the moves have been small. 11 ticks, 18 ticks, 22 ticks. Look at the movement in gold. 91 ticks, 124 ticks in October, 114 ticks in August. So if you're interested in trading the jobs report on your own, this is just a tip on your own. A couple of things you could look at. Look at the euro, 6E. If you use a 12 tick bracket on the euro, and the euro is a $6.25 contract per tick, meaning it's lower risk than gold, which is $10 a tick, and it whips less. In other words, it's less prone to whipsaws. You could trade the euro on the US jobs report. So I just wanted to give people a heads up. The euro is tradable. I avoid the indexes like the NQ and the ES on jobs, especially if the markets are anywhere near as volatile as they were last week. Those markets are just too whippy, too whippy. Donna, check your what's the word I'm looking for? Check your spam folder. Let me know if for some reason Donna's saying she didn't get this week's schedule. Now it was mailed, Donna. At least I'm assuming Eric mailed it. Now maybe it got emailed. It might be getting emailed later than normal, but I'll tell you what I'll do, Donna. I'll grab the link for you, and it's a free report. Let me throw it into this webinar for you. So just give me half a second. So it's this week's WMM, which is our weekly market mover report. Okay, Derek says he got it. So Donna, definitely check your spam folder. And there's the file, just so you have it. I'll send it 2 different places. Okay, and that's anybody's welcome to sign up for the weekly schedule. So there you have the weekly schedule. So the final thing I wanted to talk about before the earnings class, that there's still time to get in, and there's a great deal that we're going to offer for next quarter. I just wanted to talk about, the U.S. jobs report is such a powerful report. So I just wanted to give people a heads up, not selling anything, just to show you a couple of recent results. Okay? This was December, about a year ago, $800 profit. One of our members, recent job, or like 6 months ago, jobs report, trading bonds, he made $700 on the report. I just wanted to remind people that the US jobs report is a great report. It has risk because gold is risky, but I do think I'm going to mention the euro to people that want to experiment. And it's only, like I said, it's only $6.25 a tick. So you could experiment with a 1 contract trade and go for a 30 tick target, and you can make $180, $200. All right, so a couple of questions. Larry says he got his WMM Sunday at 11:30, which is when I normally schedule it. Steve is asking, is it necessary to have a Ninja Trader account? Yes, to trade our software. Steve, right now, yes, we are unequivocally, we've been saying it for so long, we're trying to decide what other platform to put it on. So my question to you, Steve, is what platform do you use? What's your trading platform that you use? Because we can't do it on Infinity because Infinity doesn't let you program a strategy onto their platform. If you note, at least when I was using Infinity, they don't have third-party strategies. TOS doesn't either, Steve. I would just love to do TOS, but they don't allow for third-party strategies either. So many people use TOS. It's so frustrating. People are out there using Trading View. Irvin, I'm not that smart. Tradeovate, Donna, I don't think enough people are using it. That's the problem. I'm somewhat familiar with it. Is it Trading View? A lot of people have mentioned that to us. Nathan, you didn't get the DMM either. So what I would tell people, if you ever have trouble, let me post something else. What's happening in the world today is that the URLs, the ISPs, not the URLs, the ISPs are blocking emails. Or if you ever asked not to get one of our emails, it's almost impossible for me to ever get you the emails again because they block it. Steve, I'll tell you in a second. So what I wanted to tell you is if you try to whitelist our email, so our email is help@10minutetrades.com, right? That's the email you want to whitelist. And I'm just going to make a note here, and then I'm going to put in a link. It may help, okay? Help@10minutetrades.com is the address you want to try to whitelist. I don't know of any other way that we can get our emails through. If you make our email address a preferred address that you want to receive by whitelisting it, that sometimes can help, okay? So here's the link about whitelisting. So that's, if you follow that link, you could try it. Now, I've tried it on some people that I've had trouble getting email. It's not always useful, but sometimes it is, so give it a shot. And also check around in your various folders. Gmail sometimes puts it in a weird folder. Our emails, sometimes our emails go into people's spam folders. That we know for sure. Okay. So let me just talk about the final thing that I'm here for. Steve was asking one other thing other than NinjaTrader, what other platforms are we interested in? MetaTrader 5, Steve, we looked at. TradeStation, but we've kind of determined that their data feed is not fast enough. Those are some of the others. Trading View, I think, I'm not sure if it's Trading View, not Trader View. Trading View, you know, I looked at multi-charts, but it's sort of like TradeStation Junior or TradeStation Senior almost. Just not enough people using so many of them. Sierra charts, not enough people using it. So it's very challenging because everything is so fragmented these days, even more than it was a year ago. TOS, I'd give anything if we could do it in TOS because so many people use TOS. But unfortunately, it's not an option. So, you know, Ninja is a great product for third party, but we'd like another choice. Absolutely. We actually were looking at a great German product at one time because we wanted to get ourselves into European news. And they tried to write our software in their platform, and we just couldn't get it done the way that we needed to get it done. So it is something we've really are looking to do. And like I said, we'd love to do it. So let's talk about the final thing that we're here. So the earnings, I've shown you some of the earnings workshops from this week. And we just wanted to let people know that there's still an opportunity to get into the rest of the earnings. There's two more big ones this week, not counting Facebook. I can't promise Facebook because of the surgery situation. So I don't know if I'll make it back on Wednesday, but it's absolute will be here for Google and Amazon. Google, which is really Alphabet's earning, is on Tuesday. Amazon is on Thursday. We're going to auction off 5 free entries for the Google workshop. We will email you if you're one of the 5. All right, so you don't have to do anything. We're just going to pick names out of a hat randomly. We're not going to do anything unfair, okay? And we'll email you. And figure if you don't hear from us by, I would say if you don't hear from us by 2 p.m., then you didn't get into the free workshop, okay? Because I'm going to do it right away, right after I'm done here. And so what we wanted to offer is that there's still time to sign up. There will be 2 more live sessions. Google at 3:30 on tomorrow, Tuesday. Amazon 3:30 on Thursday. That's a value of 197 bucks. And then also we'll give you the earnings workshop that I just recorded like 10 days ago. And I go over all exactly how we trade earnings with our software using Ninja Traders. But I will tell you this, if you have a fantastic platform that has really good chart trading, you can absolutely trade earnings the way that we do using another platform, more so than our breakout trades, our normal breakout trades. Okay, and it's because the entry is discretionary for the way that we trade earnings. So the value of this is the $799 because of what we're selling the earnings workshop for after this earnings session is over. And we're going to include all the, what we taught the markets to trade, which earnings to trade, the tools that we use in the whole process, the setup, the one click range setup, obviously the specific setups. There's multiple setups, one contract, multiple, more than 2 contracts, how you can practice with replay. We covered all of that in the earnings workshop. Okay, so it's a value of $799, and we're just charging $97 for all of that. But the deadline is midnight tonight. If you don't get in by midnight tonight, then you won't be able to do it because the classes, the earnings sessions tomorrow. So you got to do it tonight. TradeEarningsNow.com, www.tradeearningsnow.com is the deal. Do we have the service that you set up the software for us? Oh, Irvin, if you want in other words, you're having a problem setting up your software, Irvin? Is that the problem? So Irvin, yes, you want to have us come into your computer, and yes. So send me an email at help@10minutetrades.com, Irvin. Same email is up above, help@10minutetrades. Okay, no, you didn't get the software. And okay, so Irvin, send me an email and I'll send you a link to buy the software, and maybe I can work into you don't know how to Nathan, you don't know how to set up the software either. Okay, so send me an email. Okay, if you're having a problem setting up the software, send me an email. It's a couple of different things we can do. All right, help@10minutetrades.com. Help@10minutetrades.com. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. If you need me to come into your computer, it's extra, but if you don't, we might be able to solve it. Okay. Let's start by sending me an email and I'll get right back to you today. So one more time, let me go over the deal because I've been really scattered all over the place. It's a good deal, folks, because you get the workshop, you get the trades. It's 97 bucks. One good earnings trade can easily pay for it. 2 sessions, Google and Amazon this week, Tuesday and Thursday, valued 197. And then the workshop, the total value of the 2 classes and the workshop is worth $799. I literally go over everything that we use to do the earnings, and it's just 97 bucks, www.tradeearningsnow.com, okay? www.tradeearningsnow.com. Now, you can bump up, and this is the best part of the deal. For just an extra 200 bucks, you can come in next quarter, all the sessions, okay? Next quarter. So it'll be included for $297 for the whole deal. Next quarter is included also, all right? Because we're not including earnings in our membership anymore next quarter. Okay. that's the end of everything I wanted to say. Let me go over questions, if there's any questions. So just to go over that, no, we're not using the actual stock prices to trade the software. We're trading the NQ as a proxy, okay? So that's important to understand. A couple of things. So, Donna was asking, is it the VPN that blocks the email? So Donna, most of our members aren't using VPNs. Some people use them, some people don't, but they should not automatically be blocking our emails. There's no reason why it shouldn't be a problem, because you can use a VPN and still you should be able to get your emails, okay? But sometimes it's possible, Donna. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it is possible that if you're on the VPN all the time, because if you use a VPN, you can't go to some websites with certain subscriptions. Like I know that sometimes Netflix won't work if you try to use it, like with a Czechoslovakian VPN, for instance, you can't use it. So that does happen. So you got to try to think outside the box and make sure something on your computer is not causing your emails to be blocked. And then, sometimes you may have complained that we were spam 3 years ago. Maybe we spammed you, you know what I mean? Like crazy. And you weren't interested in trading the news 3 years ago, but now you are. If you complained, then it's really hard for us to ever get you back. You have to actually petition your ISP to allow our email to get back, to be allowed to trade. So now let me just ask, so a couple of people said they were having problems installing the software. So Steve S. and Irvin. Irvin, I know you're an advanced Ninja user, right? Aren't you an advanced Ninja user? Or are you just worried that after you purchase it, you won't be able to install it? Just tell me what your specific situation is. I'm just curious. Never have usually. Oh, you have email problems, Donna, with your VPN. Do you mind saying which VPN service you use? I know that is it NordVPN? There's been a VPN that recently got hacked like crazy too. I, if I choose a VPN, I do a deep search to find out who owns the VPN company, because some of the VPNs are owned by like Verizon. And I don't want to be on a VPN with Verizon because they're not going to protect my data. Okay, and Steve S. So Steve S., why do you call yourself Nathan? I'm just curious. So you haven't tried because you don't know where to start. Are you a new Ninja user also? Steve, are you a new Ninja user? Just curious. Okay, so you are a new Ninja user. Okay, all right. So I'm just trying to think. Send me an email. What if I sent you a video that showed you exactly how to install the software? In other words, I'm trying to save you the money so you don't have to pay me to come into your computer. Okay, so send me that email, and Nathan, I'll help you. Steve, I'll help you either way. Okay, I'll help you either way. So if you have a problem and the video still doesn't help, I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, we'll figure it out. And Irvin, the same goes for you. So I'll be happy to help you too. So if you both send me an email, I'll respond in a little bit. All right. And then anybody who doesn't want to wait because you really want to make sure you get into the earnings, I'll tell you what I'll do. Our trade room usually sells for $97, the cost of the class. If you want to take our offer today, and you're one of the winners, I'll give you 2 months in the trade room for the $97 you didn't have to pay today. That's if you're a maniac like me and you don't want to wait to see if you won entrance into the earnings class, okay? Either way, I'm going to send an email within probably within a half an hour on anybody that has an opportunity to take the class. Okay, for the 97 books. So www.tradeearningsnow.com. I will see everybody tomorrow. All right, our first trade room tomorrow is early, 8 o'clock for Canada GDP, and I think that I'll try to real hard to get everybody going today that's having a problem, so you could at least start trading in sim with us. and thank you, Donna. Appreciate that very much. I really am a maniac. And fun. You know, I like to have fun with this, but I take it really seriously. So everybody, I'll see you all in the trade room tomorrow. All right. And thanks for coming to the podcast. And I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, folks. Have a great one. Take care.